Welcome back to Learn SKN, and today we're going to finish off the June-July Econ 2020 paper 1, the CXC Econ paper 1 that we started in the last two videos. We are going to finish this one today, so we're going to jump in right at 41. We left off at 40, so we're going to jump in naturally at 41. But before we jump into the last of the paper, you know what to do. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when Learn SKN drops another video. So do all of that, click the buttons, do the bell thing, do everything, so that we can jump right back into this paper right here. All right, so now for 41, the amount of net exports in an economy is given as minus 10 million. This indicates that the value of export is, and of course, since it's a negative number, and the formula to find net export is exports are X minus M. So exports on the left minus imports on the right. Doesn't matter the size or whatever, we put them where they're supposed to go. And so if you get a negative, that clearly means that you would have taken away a larger number from a smaller number, which means that exports would have been the smaller number and imports would have been the larger number, and so you end up with a negative number. So it's less than imports. Number 42 refers to the following table, which shows manufacturing output as a share of gross domestic product, GDP, for 4 countries, A, B, C, and D. And so look at the diagram here, 2016, 2017, 2018. In country A, it's gradually declining, country B, gradually declining, country C, declining, country D, declining. So the table shows that all countries experience, and of course the answer is a decline in manufacturing output as a share of gross domestic product. So that's what you got from all of this. So all this is a contribution, the percentages are the contribution of manufacturing to the GDP. And so earlier on they were more reliant on manufacturing, but now it's declining. So that's why the answer is D. 43 refers to the following economic measures: reducing the bank rate, increasing interest rate, decreasing money supply. So which of the measures above can be used to reduce inflation? And so the answer is C, number 2 and number 3. Because if you reduce the bank rate, which is 1, if you reduce the bank rate, that means that the bank can now create more money. And if it can create more money, that means that money is more available in the economy, and so it would basically increase inflation. Right? So if you want to reduce inflation, you would tighten the amount of money that the bank can lend by increasing the rate. So any of them with 1 can be right, because it could never, reducing the bank rate could never lead to reduce inflation. That would increase inflation. So 1, 2, 3, we got in 1, so the answer has to be C. 44. The following factors causes money to lose value and become less effective as a medium of exchange. And so that one is quite obvious. Inflation. Inflation is the gradual or the general increase in prices throughout the economy. As if prices are going up, that means that the money you have would have less and less and less purchasing power. So maybe you could have bought a bread for $1, and then because of inflation, bread gone up to $1.50. Now that same dollar cannot buy a bread anymore. Right, so the value of that dollar has reduced. You have to bring more to get the bread. So that's what we're talking about. They lose the value. The value of the money reduces because of inflation. Our country has a comparative advantage in the production of a commodity and the word is comparative advantage, meaning compared to other countries, this country can produce things more efficiently. So that means that C can produce the commodity at a lower economic cost than any other country. That's a comparative advantage. Absolute advantage is where you can produce more, right? So that's what absolute advantage would be. If you can just outright produce more. Comparative advantage is you produce at a lower opportunity cost. And so that is what the answer is C. So that's 45. 46 now refers to the following diagram, which illustrates the production possibility frontier for an economy. Year 1, so this kind of trick people, because they want to say year 1 is AA, and then year 2 is the one that came first, right? You want to say year 2 is BB. So something you might be confused about, but don't let them trick you. Do not let them trick you. So year 1 is A and year 2 is B. Now, from the diagram above, it can be deduced that, so based on the diagram, point X was unattainable in year 2. So you're focusing on year 2. Remember, anything outside of the PPF is unattainable. And so in year 2, point X is outside, and so therefore it's unattainable. Right? It's unattainable. So that's why the answer is A. If you look at point was efficient in year 1 and year 2, point X, that cannot be because in year 2 you cannot reach X. There was a decrease in opportunity cost in year 2. Nope, because you're producing, it's the same scope, it's the same basic thing, same slope. There was an economic growth between year 1 and year 2. No, there was a contraction. That is why it went inside, receded. So the answer is A. 47. In theory, open competition on a world scale facilitates, in theory, this is right, because in reality it's not so. So here what they say, it facilitates the development of a competitive advantage based on price. Hear that? And in theory, that's how it's supposed to be in theory. But the reality is, it's not competitive because our small island nations are getting a lot of licks because of open trade. So, you know, I mean, the price is going to determine who we buy from, right? So, I guess that's the reality of the situation. All right, 48. A transfer is as recorded in the balance of payment is, and so, you know, a transfer is something that you didn't really have. Okay, so normally in the balance of payments, when you can have whatever is an expenditure can be an income for somebody else. So like there's a link. But for transfers come just out of nothing. You don't have to give anything to get transfers, like gifts and those kind of things. Because to get a gift, you don't have to do anything in return. But to get savings or consume something, you have to give up something to get something. But transfers now are things like gifts that you don't have to give anything to get in return. So a donation by a foreign government of relief supplies to a country following the passage of a hurricane, that is a transfer payment. Because you did not do anything to get it. It just happened that the hurricane mashed up the country, and so they gave a donation. There was nothing for it. 49. Refers to the following diagram, which shows the circular flow of income. And so you have the circular flow of income diagram right here. Line X represents payment, so this is line X, and the answer is to the factor of production. Because look at this, look at the circular flow. You have the firm, you have the household. You follow in this line, the household pay for goods and services that the firm produces, and the firm pays the household for their labor, which is a factor of production. So the firm, it pays the household, and the household take that payment and buy goods from the firm, and so that's why you have a circular flow of income right there. So that's why the answer is B, the factor of production, which would be labor in this case, or whatever factor of production the household owns, and the firm employs that factor of production. That's the payment right there, X. Number 50. Which of the following market features is not a characteristic of perfect competition? And so the answer we chose here is, of course, B. Because A, freedom of entry and exit, yes, it's a characteristic of perfect competition. You can enter and exit the market as you desire. There are no barriers. There are no barriers to entry or exit. Then you have knowledge of the market conditions. Yes, there's perfect knowledge. Everybody knows about price and everything. That's why everybody knows the market price for certain things. Selling of homogeneous products. And that means that all the products are similar, basically similar. So the answer is B, many buyers and one seller. That would be a monopoly. Many buyers and one seller would be a monopoly. But we're looking at perfect competition. Number 51 refers to the following scenario. Between 2008 and 2018, country X imported 500,000 cars from the United States. This represented an increase of 100% over the previous 10 years period. As a result, the demand for US dollars increased significantly, while exports to the US increased by just 2%. This scenario described above is most likely to result in. So what does this scenario result in? Okay, so the answer we say here is D. right? Country X's dollar depreciating against the US dollar. Where we said that? Because the demand is for foreign goods. And so the demand is for foreign goods, nobody really care about the local currency, right? Nobody care about the local currency. So the demand for the local currency is going down. The demand now is for the foreign currency. And as such, the local currency is going to depreciate against the US dollar. It's going to use some value towards the US dollar. And so the answer is X's dollar depreciating against the US dollar because the demand for US dollars is increasing while the demand for local currency is decreasing. Right? So that's why the answer is D. 52 refers to the following table, which shows the current account section of a country's balance of payments for the year 2016. Invisible imports, 50 mil. Invisible exports, 80 mil. Visible imports, 70 mil. Visible exports, 32 mil. What is the value of the country's balance of merchandise trade? And so, of course, we know this one already. We have done it many times before. And so the answer here is minus 38 mil. Minus 38 mil. Now, how did we get the minus 38 mil? What you do, you don't even take on the invisible stuff, because invisible stuff is like services and things like that. So you're looking at the visible stuff. And so it's exports minus imports. And so the export is 32, import is 70. You do the maths and you get negative 38. So you minus the 32 from the 70 and you get negative 38. Alright, 53. The economic system where major economic decisions are made by private individuals and business is known as, of course, the free market. When you hear private individuals and businesses, we're talking about free market. If it was the state, it would have been controlled or planned. And if it was you're doing things just to survive, it would have been subsistence. So the answer is A, free market. 54. A country is experiencing a balance of trade deficit. Which of the following measures can it take to reduce the deficit in the short run? So in the short run, how can we reduce the deficit in the short run? And so we have C, introduce policies to reduce the level of imports. Because the balance of trade simply means that balance of payments means that you're sending out more money. A deficit means you're sending out more money than you're getting. You're sending out more money than you're bringing in. And so if you introduce policies to reduce imports, that means you don't have to send out as much money, and you will kind of match what you're exporting in a sense. You bring it down to a level. So you're improving the deficit of the balance of payments in this case. Of course, you cannot reduce the volume of exports, because that would mean you'll further dig a hole. If you increase importation, again, you'll further dig a hole. So the best answer is C, introduce policies to reduce the level of imports. Like, a quota, embargo, tariff, whatever. The acronym FDI in economics means foreign direct investment. Foreign direct investment. Foreign direct investment. 56, which of the following, which of the following product is not considered to be primary? So the answer here is C, furniture. Furniture is secondary. That's part of the construction or the manufacturing sector. So that's secondary. Everything is extracted. Bauxite is extracted. Banana extracted. Petroleum extracted. So they're part of the primary or the extractive industry. Furniture, you take the lumber or the timber or the board or the wood, and you turn that into something else, which is the furniture. 7. The term e-commerce refers to D, electronic businesses. Simple as that. Electronic businesses doing business via the internet or whatever, mostly the internet. 58. Which of the following is not a benefit of economic integration? And so the only thing here that is not a benefit is higher cost of living. There's no way, shape, or form that could be a benefit for anything. Higher cost of living. Increased productivity, that's a good thing. Improve competitiveness of products, that's a good thing. Mutual benefit among member countries, that's a good thing. So the answer is A, higher cost of living. 59, we're almost there to the penultimate question. We're almost at the end of the June-July 2020 CSEC economics paper. So let's go. 59. Which of the following occurrences is not a benefit of trade liberalization to customers? Not a benefit to customers. So A, a decline in the price of goods and services. Who would know that? Our customers will be happy for that one. So that's not it. B, an increase in the prices of goods and services. That's the only thing we see here that's not a benefit, because C, greater access to a variety of goods and services. That's a good thing for all of us as customers. We get to choose from different things, more variety available to us. D, a reduction in the cost of providing goods and services. Of course, reduction in price, cost, that's good. So reduction in the cost of providing goods and services, that's a good thing. But for the customers, an increase in the prices of goods and services would never be a good thing for us. All right, the last one, number 60. One important objective of CARICOM is to B, encourage the economic development of its members. CARICOM, CSME, Caribbean Community. That's the end of the paper. End. Number 60. All right. So that's it for the June-July 2020 economics, the COVID year economics paper 1. That's the end of that. So thanks for watching and thanks for listening, and do the subscribing and the sharing thing for us so we can grow this channel bigger. All right. Thanks for watching again.